right, all right. Hey, hey. Hi. So, Libras, let's go ahead and take a little peek, and we're going to see Libra, what's on their mind. By the way, Libras, if you guys did not already know this, and I just recently found this out, a lot of people think I only do one video per month, but that is not the case at all. We do many, many videos for every zodiac. I always aim to do at least 2 per week for each zodiac. Libra, sometimes you guys get an extra. But if you're ever wondering if I put out content, the quickest, easiest method for you to check that, because I know YouTube doesn't seem to be showing my content so much these days, or at least that seems to be what's being said to me through these other comments. Just check out the playlist tab, and if you click on that, you can scroll through and find Libra, and then in that Libra playlist, you should see all the videos from newest to oldest listed for you. So that might be the best, easiest method for you guys to know when I put things out, okay? Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks so much for being here and being with my channel. I really appreciate you. We have a Queen of Cups and a Nine of Cups. What's on their mind? In this case, this actually looks like somebody who is doing like really well right now. They could be very happy. They could be very self-satisfied. They could be a bit of a dreamer as well. This could be somebody who's got almost like a bit of a fantasy land though going on also. Okay, we have a Two of Wands and we have the King of Pentacles. It's definitely a fantasy land right now. This is somebody who does come across as single, and they may be like sending up a little wish to the cosmos, like, oh gosh, you know what would be so awesome? You know what would be so great? I would so love to be in a relationship. It would be so amazing. I wonder if this person fantasizes either about being in a connection with Libra, or they fantasize. I mean, maybe they are a fantasist. Let's not throw that out the window yet either. This could be somebody who tends to live in fantasy land just a smidge, because they like to think about, their favorite daydream could be Libra, or they could just be a daydreamer as a whole. Let me go ahead and ask a little bit more in regards to Libra, what's on their mind. Page of Cups, Six of Wands sideways. They wonder what would happen if they made a move in Libra's direction. They wonder what would happen if they, said something to Libra or gave Libra a little, like maybe a gift around the holidays, or this feels like somebody who has a sweet little fantasy about Libra. King of Cups in the reverse. That doesn't feel so sweet though. That feels like somebody who, even if they daydream about Libra, they could hope that Libra would like more or less than stoke their ego and make them feel super, super special. I don't want to give too much, but I would be so great if Libra liked what I offered them. We have Queen of Pentacles upright. What is this? I'm getting a little bit lost in this. Honestly, their thoughts are all over the place. Maybe it's because we have the Two of Wands. Maybe this person in their daydream, maybe they don't stay consistent in one daydream. So maybe that's why we see this getting weird and murky really fast, because it's like, it would be so great if I, like reached out to Libra and I said a little something, that would be so great. On the other hand, then it's like, no, I won't do that. I'll go some other direction. Hang on. Why do you seem to be so back and forth in your mind here? Nine of Swords, okay, so this is why it's also not more than daydreams right now. This feels like somebody who's super stressed out, and they get themselves even more stressed out, and that's probably why they can't have a consistent thought. Stress makes us want something, and then it makes us freak out and say, no, this is a bad idea. Anybody who's ever had and I think every human being can think about a time when they've been anxious about something and talk themselves right back out of going. You get dressed up, you're going to go out, and then you're like, nope, I'm taking off those shoes. I'm sitting down on the couch and, whatever, I'm going to eat some chips instead. Nope, I freaked out. I don't want to go after all. Or, something that we're planning on doing, and then it's like, can't do it, can't say it, can't speak up. I don't have what it takes to do that right now. So they have a lot of anxiousness. So it's probably not that great for them to spend too much time in their head like this, because when they're in their head, they can tell themselves a happy story. It would be so awesome. Oh my gosh, it would be so great. It would be so great. And I could see like maybe Libra and I would be like this happily ever after, King of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles. On the other hand, oh God, no, no, maybe this will be awful. Look, here's the real reason they're freaking out. Because in this happy daydream, it says they would have to offer. So I thought it was a love offer. It would be an apology along with some kind of like a reconciliation offer. In this storyline, those are the cards that we got. I can't change that. So let me just take another look here, though. Strength card, upright. This doesn't look like a particularly strong individual right now. It looks like somebody who's sitting there kind of feeling bummed that they don't have the strength to do something. They want to have the strength to do it, but they just don't. So again, that lends credence to this, like, why am I getting confused in this story? Why do they have two different like fantasies of how things could go? And one of them doesn't look good necessarily. One of them says, no, Libra would probably hate me. On the other hand, it would be so great to talk to Libra. I'd love to have a reconciliation and we could be so happy together and everything would be perfect and blah, blah, blah. And then the other side is like, no, they don't want me. This is somebody who they very strongly want some kind of reconciliation, but I don't see them taking any action right now at all. Can I go back over for just a minute to that King of Cups in the reverse? Is that, how do I read that? Is that like how they think Libra would think of them? King of Wands upright, Four of Pentacles. It may just be that they're thinking they would be the butt of a joke. They would feel foolish. No, I shouldn't do this. They could even be thinking, no, Libra probably has somebody else that they're already all booed up with, and so I should hold back. They're not going to want to hear from me. So it does feel like they alternately talk themselves in and out of this. That's ridiculous. They probably, and it's almost like they get themselves all keyed up and pissy over this imagined, like, well, Libra's probably with somebody else, and so they don't deserve my love anyway. It almost feels a little like that, like they really are riding those waves of, probably because it's stressful and painful to think of things not going well. Okay, so unfortunately, this does feel like it's somebody from Libra's past who's still thinking about them. But let me just ask, who are you to Libra? Queen of Cups in the reverse. So now we have a King of Cups and a Queen of Cups in the reverse. And they say, I am the person that Libra stopped loving, or I'm the person who at one point was very emotionally manipulative toward Libra. I wanted them to chase me. I used my gravitational pull to try to bring them to me. Now, yeah, the devil. So who are they to Libra? They are somebody that had a toxic kind of behavior. And it feels like I think that they probably intentionally didn't respond to Libra. I think that they tried maybe to get Libra to chase them. Because this is somebody sitting there, we can't see their face, but they're looking at their phone or tablet or something, and yet we see them not responding. It feels like they are somebody who left Libra on red. Why if you have all this like fantasy of how great it could be with Libra, except then again, maybe not. I don't know. Are they single and telling themselves they're happy, but in truth, they always wonder what it could have been like to be with Libra, and they imagine the one fine day that they could be with Libra again, but then they go, no, Libra wouldn't want me. Do you want Libra? Or do you actually want to be single? But you also still miss Libra. I mean, like, Five of Wands, they don't know. This is somebody who's all over the place. I've never seen such a confused character, to be honest. So this is somebody who I do feel like part of them wants to be single. I do feel like part of them loves the single life, but they also like the fantasy of having somebody. It's, you know what I almost think? I think this is somebody who lives in the, you know how like the movies leave us wanting more, you never, the movie always ends right when two people finally get together and they can have the happily ever after. And I feel like they operate that way. As soon as there's genuine satisfaction, then it's like, okay, well, this isn't, exciting anymore. So I live in the yearning, the moment of yearning. That seems to be what they create. So they live in fantasy land of, I'm single, it's so great, but every day and every night I think all the time about what it would be like to be with Libra, and I play out all these different timelines and fantasies, but I don't actually take any action. But I go round and round with these different thoughts, but they have different stories that they tell themselves with that card. They have all the different scenarios of how things could go with Libra. But I don't know that I think this person is, they still, even when they look into the future, they still see 3 different potential timelines. And this is into the next year, because next year's the year of the horse, and we have 3 horses here. All they did was take it down from 5 different timelines down to 3. So I don't see this person getting that close to doing anything. I just see a fantasist who is single, who wants Libra, who wants a future that isn't making the future happen. I'm sorry, I know that's very strange, very confusing. 4 of Cups, that 4 of Cups here, again, it's about illusions. And maybe the big illusion, because we have dogs everywhere, which represent loyalty, maybe the big illusion is that they are somebody who could actually see themselves in a really, like, not even just a loyal connection, but I'm talking loyal as in like that they could see something lasting. Even here, we at least have 2 cups that are filled with dogs. I almost feel like this is, they have a weird ingrained belief that relationships don't last. Maybe this is like parents that were together but awful, or had like an illusion of being together. It's like, oh, well, my parents stayed together, but they always cheated on each other. So I don't really necessarily believe that any relationship works, which is maybe why they don't really want the reality of trying it. They like the fantasy of it more because they're like, it's all an illusion anyway, and it's less disappointing. You can't get disappointed when you never like actually bring it into being. There's something weird about the way these dogs are, but they actually do know with Libra this could actually have worked. But again, they're like, no, it's got to be an illusion. It's funny how we went from 5 to 3 to 2. You notice how this person, they tell themselves all kinds of different stories, and then they shrink it down because there is some kind of knowledge even within them that whatever fallacy they've told themselves probably isn't correct. And with Libra, it could be totally different, but they're coming more and more to that truth, but still fighting it every step of the way. Hanged Man is here. And then they sit again in the swing and they delay, just like they did when they were sitting here on the Strength card. They're always sitting in a swing, just unable to make a move, a sincere move forward. So they stay in their heads. Here's what I actually think. I think that this person knows Libra is, if they could ever get out of their fear, and it is petrifying fear of relationships. And I would just argue it's because they have seen the illusion of relationships. They've seen people that pretended that they were happily ever after that freaking hated each other or were cheating on each other nonstop. There was no loyalty, and yet everybody pretended to look the other way and act like they didn't know it. And that really soured them on the reliability of any kind of successful relationship. But they do know one thing, which is with Libra, that could be so different. But they still have too much fear wrapped up in all this. And they admittedly seem to sabotage things, but it's just because they can't wrap their head around how this could really be successful because they have not seen a successful relationship. And now we finally come to 1. We have the Star. So from the 5 to the 3, and then we got down to that, the 2 dogs. I don't know. I'm just seeing this. It's not so much that I'm looking at the numbers on the cards or anything like that. I'm looking at the images and I'm seeing how we're shrinking things down to one truth. And the truth is they wish for Libra. This is somebody who knows, if anything, a love story with Libra could be very healing. It could be the once in a lifetime choice. So they think through all this, even in this murky realm of, them telling themselves a bunch of different stories. I still say that deep down, because that star is like our inner North Star that knows the truth. They know the truth of it is, Libra is the one. With that Fool card, if they could, this is fear also. The mice represent the thing that, stresses us out. They have so much stress though about like trying to just blindly leap into giving their heart to somebody, even to Libra. Not because they don't love Libra, but because they just have built such fear around this whole thing. With the Ten of Wands in the reverse, we can see how bullheaded this person is. Maybe they actually are a Taurus. I mean, they put a bull on, a fire card, so this wouldn't normally have anything to do with Taurus. It's just the bull is there. Normally, of course, this would be a Leo, Sag, or Aries. They seem to keep themselves trapped. So what they think about is they fight in their own head with what they know could be amazing and what they're too scared to reach out for. Let me just ask one question just on behalf of Libra. What's the best message here for Libra? Four of Wands. Four of Wands says, Libra really has to consider what would be in their greatest and highest good for their, what would Libra's ideal partnership and relationship look like? And ask themselves, could they really see themselves having a lot of happiness with this person? We do have the Judgment card here, but does Libra really think that if they got back together with this person, would it make a big difference? Would they be so good together? We have the Magician, because if Libra is trying to manifest their best outcome, they may need to make peace with the fact that if somebody still is fighting everything and continues to fight, and this does say, because that Ten of Wands was in the reverse, if they keep holding themselves stuck and they keep fighting it, then is it in Libra's best interest to wonder, is this person ever going to reach out? Or is it in Libra's best interest to make peace with the fact that they're very stuck on some outdated, patterning inside of themselves, but I'm going to go ahead and manifest my own future and I'm going to leap forward. It kind of feels like it just reminds Libra, manifest the outcome Libra really, really wants to have, which is a balanced relationship. And that may not have anything to do with this person in reality. But Libra can definitely have that amazing connection, but they might need to actually, picture it in their mind's eye, write it out. We have somebody who has like a little wand of like light, like one of those like kids' toys where there's like, sometimes there's like that plasticky nylon threads that light up, you see them like at fairs and stuff. But it just feels as if Libra maybe has like a multicolored magical, either like a nightlight or something like that. But I wonder if Libra like meditates to that or something, that colorful light, and that allows them to start thinking more about how they want their own life to look. I don't know that it looked to me like this person is like ready for anything with Libra. I mean, everything can always change, but in this storyline, much of this seemed as if they are pretty hung up still on fears, even though the one person on earth they already know it could all be different with would be Libra. All right, I'm going to leave this here. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. I really appreciate you guys. Bye.